Let me introduce modern-day Impressionist, Cézanne expert, and Van Gogh scholar, the internationally known artist Jill Steenhuis. Here we see Jill demonstrating her plein air prowess as she captures the beauty of nature surrounding her home in Aix-en-Provence. Jill's spontaneity as she paints is evident in her rendering of the fleeting light of the sunset and the gesture-like brushstrokes defining the olive trees, and her colors, so expressive and organic, hallmarks of her style. Jill is equally adept at painting the still life. Again, we see her mastery of color and movement as she subtly moves the viewer's eye through the painting on multiple paths of color, line, shape, and placement. The artist shared her expertise through the Zoom conferencing platform, concentrating on how to mix a harmonious palette, the process of painting through the use of tutorial videos, painting demos, still life and landscape group instruction, individual coaching, and critique and group critique. Without Sarah Edwards, Jill's virtual visit to Amelia Island would never have happened. Having attended one of Jill's workshops in Provence last summer, Sarah invited Jill to bring her talent and instructional abilities to Amelia Island. The pandemic did not daunt Sarah or Jill, and so the virtual workshop was born. The 9 participants and Jill interacted from their COVID-safe small group environments. Barbara Hopkins' studio, Jill in her studio in Provence, Sandra Hughes in her studio, and a group in Sarah Edwards' home. The development of a harmonious palette was the core of the workshop. Comparing her palette to the notes on a piano, Jill demonstrated step by step her process for creating organic colors. Using 14 synthetic colors, she uses color complements to neutralize and/or salt her colors to create a plethora of natural, harmonious colors and a gamut of grays. This first day of learning was powerful and intense. Sally took copious notes and chose her palette knife with care. "14 colors: quinacridone rose, ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, manganese blue, Veronese green, cad yellow lemon, Naples yellow light, Naples yellow deep, cad yellow deep, cad orange, raw sienna, cad red, Prussian blue, and mixed white." A plethora of purples, blues, and greens are created, all of which have white added until only the residue remains. Here we see the makings of an ethereal green as the last addition of white is added both to create a color and clean the palette. No paint is wasted. This is the cheat sheet of the palette layout that was part of the tutorial content sent to the workshop participants prior to the virtual session. Jill's palette is complete. The participants' palettes are complete. Janet says it's time for lunch. Barbara Hopkins, Sally Marks, Jane Stone, Jennifer Salisbury, Kathy Findlay, and Sarah Edwards relax by the pool as they await their French lunch at Sally and Maurice Marx's home. Toast to Maurice and Sally. With wine brought back from the Marx's last trip to Paris commenced the celebration. Sally and Maurice prepare French bread and salads. Maurice checks his bouillabaisse. Still lifes were set up at each of the studios. Here we see painters at Sally's hard at work. Holding your mouth right helps Sally make just the right stroke. Sally finishing her still life. Kathy working on hers. Jane works on her still life at Sally's. Meanwhile, at Barbara's studio, Janet, Pat, and Barbara work from 3 different setups. Jill stresses the importance of drawing. She believes that by doing a quick sketch prior to starting the painting helps the artist to get to know her subject and more into the Zen-like experience of painting. Pat and Barbara follow suit as they complete their still life painting. Day 2 is landscape day. Janet moves quickly on her landscape. Kathy begins blocking in her landscape at Sally's. All those greens. Barbara tries Jill's technique of holding multiple brushes at one time as she works on her landscape. Landscape paintings continue at Sarah's, Sally's, and Barbara's. November 3rd was Group Critique Day. Haley Davis, Jill's art manager, created a PowerPoint of each participant's work. For each discussion, there was a photo of the subject followed by the artist's painting. Jill gave valuable tips and suggestions about each piece. She made specific reference to use of brushstroke, color, and placement on the canvas. She was encouraging and respectful of each person's approach. The critique was 3 hours long, learning packed, and not in the least bit boring. At the end of the session, we were happily exhausted, including Bella, the studio cat.